So now that we have most of the important content in our infographic, now we want to make sure that all of the icons that we're using, so for example, this hand and this heart, this light bulb, this handshake and this diamond, we want to make sure that all of our icons match the information provided. So it doesn't make sense to have a hand holding a heart for what a multimedia artist does. Maybe a camera would be a better option for an icon to have there versus a hand. In order to change the icon, what we need to do first is delete it. In order to delete the icon, all we have to do is click it until we see these 4 boxes come up. And then all we have to do is hit delete. Now we need to find a new icon. In order to do that, we're going to go over here where it says elements in the left-hand bar over on the side here. And then we'll notice that it'll give us a series of icons. Now, if we notice that we have a search bar here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to search camera. And now I notice that I have a bunch of different camera icons that I can use. You want to remember to and try to stay consistent with all the icons. So notice how all of the icons that were already on this site kind of match with in terms of style. So you don't want to necessarily mix and match too many different styles of icons, or else your poster is going to look very cluttered. I'm going to choose, let's say, this icon here. And notice how once I selected it, it automatically just placed it over in my document for me. Now I notice that my icon looks a little bit too big. So in order to make it bigger or smaller, I'll grab this corner and then I can bring it up or down depending on how large I would like it to be. Now notice that this is has a black stroke or border around everything. And now let's say I want that to all be white. What I'm going to do is make sure I have my icon selected, and then I'm going to go up to this box up here. This is the color of our icon. I'm going to go ahead and click that. Once I've clicked it, I can see I have all these different document colors. These are all the colors that already exist in my document. That way I can make sure that I stay consistent with my color palette. I'm going to make it all white, and that way it has a nice sort of clean white look going around the outside. So it's not super distracting, but we know what we're getting at. Now let's say I want to have more than just icons. Let's say I want to add a nice photograph of maybe a camera up here, or maybe a computer up in my top section here for becoming a multimedia artist. What I'm then going to do is I'm actually going to go to this left bar again and click on where it says photos. Now notice I already have camera typed up in my search bar. Maybe instead of a camera, maybe I'll pick from one of these. So I have these other categories on here. So maybe I'll click the tab that says photographer, and let's see what comes up. So as I'm looking through here, I notice that this image here matches my color palette of here with that blue. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that image, and it's going to pop up here in my document. Now what I'm going to do is make this large enough so it takes up the whole page for me, or fills up that whole box. Now notice we can't see any of the letters behind it. Okay, that's because it's in front of all of my other stuff. So in order to move it behind, what we're going to do is right click or control click, and then we're going to go to send backward. Now I'm going to keep clicking send backward until all of my letters pop up in the front. So I'm going to keep sending it backward until I see my letters pop up on top. Now notice how the blue is too close of a color. What I'm then going to do is I'm actually going to select all of my letters here, and I'm going to change them to white. And that way they stand out just a little bit more against that blue. So now we have a photograph incorporated into our infographic.